Hello, and welcome to Nobody Inun's series of the First War, where we discuss everything entailing the First War, as well as a chronological list of battles and events that occurred during the conflict. So moving forward. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the world, in the city of Dalaran, the city and its populace prepared for a great celebration, for it was the season of the Feast of Scribes, a great feast full of academic celebrities, filled with entertainment, banquets, balls, and all sorts of amusement. But somewhere else within the city, a certain individual worked tirelessly alone in a vacant library. Lord Guzbah was scouring through his tomes and books, through poems and journals, through songs and diaries within the Dalaran library, trying to piece together the missing links between Agwin and the Guardians. There had to be a connection, but what? What was it? Lord Guzbah was certain of it. He had heard that Medivh had the piece he so desperately longed for, the Song of Agwin, a poem within the libraries of Karazhan, and he hoped that with it he would finally be able to unlock the secrets of the past. He was aware that the feast was on the morrow, but now was no time for celebrities or for celebration. He had found something he had missed, something new. Then Bronze Treatise on the Song of Agwin appeared to have great insight with the story itself. But how could that be? The poem was considered legendary and ancient by now. As he continued to review the treatise, Guzbah was completely unaware of the shadowy figure that appeared from behind. Medivh had sensed Guzbah's intentions, and he knew too much already. Medivh had already killed 6 other members of his order, including the Archmage Orexus, for he was a formidable and powerful adversary who posed a significant threat to his plan. The order truly possessing the only threat to his plans and could reverse what he had already done. But Medivh was careful with his actions and had killed him months ago. Medivh had been making his rounds with the members of his order, tracing his steps so no evidence pointed back to him. However, this was different. Guzbah wasn't a member of the secret order, but a powerful mage and instructor of the Violent Citadel. His death would most certainly be known among the civilized world, and not held from public eye or in secrecy, as the members of the order were. Guzbah still was a powerful mage of the Kirin, and the information he possessed could be troublesome for Medivh. Though it was risky, Medivh knew he had to take care of the mage. Guzbah's curiosity had become his undoing. Now the only path for him was his own death. But Medivh could not risk killing him himself. It would be far too risky. The city was full of magicians, mages, wizards, and arcane users of every sort. The streets were full of people wearing a variety of vibrant colors, displaying their magical spells. A strange hermit like Medivh would certainly be spotted. The city certainly would sense his incredible power, and if the two were to have a duel, they would sense the magic being cast. No, Medivh couldn't risk such a calamity, not when he had come so close to achieving his goal. Guzbah was a problem, but he would have to be taken care of with extreme care. Medivh knew just what to do. He would summon a demon, a powerful one, a being and creature the likes of which the humans had never seen or sensed before. Medivh drew an arcane circle in the ground, filled with demonic ruins and emblems that appeared to be carved in the stone itself, and cast an enchantment, whispering words in an evil, unholy language. With an elegant wave of his hand and a burst of power, Medivh had effortlessly summoned a terrifying entity to the human plane. A nightmarish, evil creature pulled from the vile reaches of the twisting nether itself. Guzbah continued his review of Dunbraugh's treatise, completely oblivious to the entity approaching from behind, unaware of the terrifying monster. Somehow, The demon was able to mask its own presence from the mage and shield its fell energy and power. Guzbah was unaware of the creature that quickly approached from behind him, taking him by surprise and impaling him through the spine. Guzbah let out a cry of pain, but he was alone in the empty library, as everyone had filled in the streets, decorating and preparing for the great feast. His screams unheard, overpowered by the music and festivities enjoyed outside. The demon happily continued its work. It had taken its prey and paralyzed it, having split his spine in the center of its back. Now it could enjoy itself, taking its time and tear him apart, piece by piece. Guzbah lay on the floor, unable to move, his body shaking in a seizure as he began to foam at his mouth. The demon proceeded to rip the mage to pieces, tearing him apart, his blood filling the library, spitting on the shelves and the walls. The mage was quickly killed by the trauma, but the pain was everlasting, both in body and in soul. Medivh continued to be cautious, checking to see if anyone was approaching, having seen or heard the death cries of the former mage lord. Content that no one was approaching and the threat had been dealt with, Medivh fled the city, returning back to his own tower. Guzbah's remains would be found right before the Feast of Scribes truly began in earnest, and a shock of terror and misbelief filled the city. None would be able to identify the cause of his death, though some would suspect that he had attempted to summon a demon himself to control it, and that in fact it had turned on him. The city would send a letter to Khadgar, giving their condolences for his loss of his first instructor. And the Order would send one out to Medivh as well, informing him of what had transpired, that Guzbah was now the first mage to be killed outside of the Order, but the seventh within the year. The Order gave the Guardian warnings to keep an eye on Khadgar, as he was Guzbah's student at one time. However, unfortunately, the letters would not arrive to the Tower of Karazhan for nearly 2 more months. This account can be found solely in the novel The Last Guardian by Jeff Grubbs, and it can be placed within the timeline, but there are no specifications. In other words, it can be speculated when it occurred, pretty accurately too, but not specifically. 6 members of the Order of Tirisfal had been killed before Lord Guzbah of Dalaran was murdered, including the powerful Archmage Orexus. However, there are no real accounts of those events other than them simply being mentioned to have happened. By the time Guzbah was killed, Medivh had assassinated 6 of the most powerful mages in the world, almost a year before. Dalaran was well aware of the murders, but opted to keep them secret, as the mages killed were a part of the secret society. His reasoning for this is most likely due to the fact of his possession, and the fact that they were a part of the Order. Sargeras was well aware of the power and threat the Order possessed, as they had stopped him before, and he orchestrated his own plan to rid them secretly and swiftly, removing the people who could reverse what he had done, such as closing the Dark Portal when he had opened it, or unifying the kingdoms of men under one war banner, as Sargeras' lieutenants had done with the Orc clans. Ultimately, Guzbah would be killed to silence him and to keep him from discovering the truth, and he would be the first mage killed who was not a part of the Order of Tirisfal. That's it for today. This concludes the murder of Lord Guzbah. Thank you for watching today's episode in this series. If you want to see more episodes and series, please subscribe to my channel and like this video. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to message me. Also, don't forget about our Facebook page that is up and running. The link to that is in the About box. Until next time, I will see you on the next episode.